We'll get you there. We'll get you there. On this episode of Werewolf Radar.
Hello!
And welcome to Werewolf
Radar. Folks, welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name's Jordan Dahl.
I am Nate Bald.
And I'm Roger Norquist, and I'm thinking step one of getting Jordan cool. New name. Jordan Cool.
Nice. Cool. How about Cool Jordan?
Cool Dan Dahl.
Whoa. How about Jordan Cool?
Okay, we're on to something.
I'm with it.
Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by Monstroco brand PM Radio. A new radio wavelength for nocturnal listeners. AM, FM, who needs them? On PM Radio, you can listen to all your favorite night sounds without the glaring judgment of the day star. Night sounds like shrieking, grunting, muffled screams, and the bare-naked ladies. Monstroco, PM Radio. What the fuck?
The sound of a baby's cries over the waters of Loch Ness.
That's on there. That falls into the shrieking hour.
I like just letting it play on random to where you get baby shrieking, a person running. And then 1 week from bare naked ladies.
Yeah. It's bam. And then it's back to, the wind whistling across a blasted prairie hour, which is just the wind whistling across a blasted prairie, probably outside of Vegas. Sometimes you hear digging.
To be fair, I would actually listen to that as a beautiful piece of white noise to go to sleep to.
Well, yeah, maybe check out Werewolf Radar's YouTube, and we might have that Nate Balding's falling asleep playlist. Different sounds that Nate Balding falls asleep to.
It's an album called Sleeping with Nate Balding. It's just him making ocean sounds for you.
Wave.
Boat. Bird. It says here that you're not supposed to leave the PM radio on in the daytime. So if you listen to it at night, just make sure you turn it off by the time the judgment of the day star returns. Doesn't say why.
Just do it.
Yeah. May I go first?
Go first, and then I want to go second.
Okay.
But can I start really quickly with the end of our poll?
Yeah.
So we did a poll last week. We did Nate Balding did a segment on taking paranormal items home, if you will. Yeah. We're looking at some eBay dolls.
I'll never do it. I have a couple of paranormal items, but it's the shit that I like. I have Nate's great witch candle that he gave
I've
us.
Been burning it.
I have the pendule. I have the dowsing penduli, and that's my kind of artifacts. I like the tools and stuff. I don't want a haunted doll. I just don't want one in my home.
So we asked, would you buy a haunted item off of eBay? 41% said yes. 41% said no.
Oh,
6% said already have, baby.
Nice.
And then 12% just said 666.
Okay, well,
as like a lifestyle, I assume.
See, yeah, when there's one cool answer, it really skews the sample selection. And it's like, or do you rock?
Listen,
what is you guys' answer? What did you answer?
I did 666.
I said no.
And Nate is not allowed on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm perma-banned, so I didn't. I would have stood probably with my Sixers, however, as a permanently banned individual.
Right. Understood.
So anyway, keep following Werewolf Radar on our Twitter at Werewolf Radar, and really take part of polls.
Saw a really funny tweet, or no, it was a comedian talking about why he was banned from Twitter, and I'm pretty sure that I don't know, we might have to bleep this, but it was really funny. He goes, all I did was Elon Musk tweeted, be all you can be, but instead of like saying be, he put the bee emoji. So it was like bee emoji, all you can be emoji. And all I said was, I'm going to shoot you in the face. And he got kicked off of Twitter for that. For that.
And you can't get back on if you've pissed off one of the racists or transphobes.
Listen. We're gonna hit up Elon Musk and we're gonna get you unbanned.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. But I'm gonna take the talking skull. I'm going to
take it out of the chest. Here you go.
Blow out the eyes. Pack a bowl into its mouth. Spark that shit up.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to begin my segment that I'm calling Rockin' Vietnam. Yeah, that's what we're calling it. Now, I don't know if we've spoken about this, but this was a really interesting article that I came upon on War History Online, my favorite website.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, I was looking at the histories of wars. And I found an article titled Rock Apes, the cryptids that supposedly once plagued GIs.
Yes.
Now, we've done a little bit of, we spoke about the fish people. Remember that? The ichthyosapiens that supposedly these American GIs saw in Vietnam. But we've never talked about the rock apes, or maybe we have and we've just forgotten, in which case, let's talk about them again.
Either way.
This goes, sightings of rock apes by Viet Cong and NVA troops were also common enough that an NVA general organized an expedition in 1974 to try to capture or at least kill one. Everyone's heard of cryptids, mysterious creatures, the existence of which is disputed by mainstream science. Some cryptids, the Loch Ness Monster, Chupacabra, Melissa Joan Hart, the Lockheed Rockneys, Thumbzor, Adam Sandler. The list goes on. While rock apes, or batututs, as they are called in Vietnam, are nowhere near as well known as the aforementioned cryptids, sightings of these mysterious creatures by American troops in the jungles of Vietnam throughout the course of the Vietnam War were surprisingly numerous, with many witnesses giving extremely detailed accounts of sightings.
I believe it.
One particular hill in Vietnam was the site of so many rock ape sightings that it became known as Monkey Mountain. While no corpses of these strange creatures were recovered or any clear pictures taken of them, the fact that sightings of them were so widespread and common throughout the war makes them worthy at least of an investigation. Rock apes were named so because of their supposed propensity for, you guessed it, throwing rocks.
Nice. That's
the other alternative is, not great.
Yeah, no, an ape made from rocks,
or just an ape that rocks.
No, I just think they throw their own feces around.
Sure. I mean, given the choice, if an ape came up to me,
I'd rather get hit in the face with a rock.
I saw your red shirt. It made me mad. I'm going to throw something at you. Which would you prefer?
The rock plays.
The rock plays. Although maybe just the shit. A rock really hurt.
I guess it depends how big the rock is.
Even small.
If it's a rock ape, maybe they're throwing like a boulder at you.
Like a boulder. Yeah, we'll get into the descriptions here in a minute. Maybe it's like, maybe he'll be like, oh, the poop will hurt. I eat lots of rocks. Rock apes are named so because of their propensity for throwing rocks, which, as we know, a trait of asses the world over. Your Sasquatch-like monsters. Think about Ape Canyon incident in California, where these men were assaulted for like 3 days by fucking supposedly Bigfoots throwing gigantic boulders at them. They would usually throw rocks in retaliation though, after rocks were thrown at them first. They were also said to toss grenades hurled their way back at the throwers.
Dude, that's some fucking that's some
move.
fucking hero shit right there.
Yeah.
Described as being up to 6 feet tall and strongly built, with long limbs and protruding stomachs, the rock apes, or batatuts, were said by witnesses to be covered in brown or reddish-brown hair. They were also thought to live in troops rather than living a solitary existence, and their habitat was confined to remote areas of the jungle far from human habitation, areas that the Vietnam War opened up.
I mean, it could sound like some elite motherfuckers.
Yeah.
In ghillie suits.
Fair. This says, at first, the descriptions of these creatures seem to point to the fact that they may have simply been misidentified orangutans. But while orangutans once did inhabit Vietnam, they became extinct 3,000 years ago. So, I mean, could this be
they might be sticking around?
Carryover? Yeah, some kind of living fossil in the way of these surviving orangutans.
Perhaps fey forest protectors.
Now we're talking. Also, much of what troops in Vietnam reported about the rock apes doesn't really match typical orangutan behavior. While orangutans are sometimes social animals, they spend far more time foraging alone. Same. Another possible candidate for misidentification is the northern white-cheeked gibbon, which is native to Vietnam. Like the mysterious rock apes, these gibbons live in large social groups and spend most of their time in the trees, but the size descriptions don't match up. Yeah, gibbons
isn't a gibbon like maximum 2.5 feet tall, maybe?
They weigh, it says the average weight for a male white-cheeked gibbon is 20 pounds.
Yeah, and they're a big hunched monkey gentleman, like the description of these make it sound like it's very, very bipedal, like it's moving on its hind legs.
Yeah.
Legs is what I meant to say, and then it picked up that grenade and tossed it back.
Right. Sightings of rock apes by Viet Cong and NVA troops were also common enough that an NVA General Hoang Minh Ta, organized an expedition in 1974 to try to capture or kill at least one of these legendary creatures. So it wasn't an American platoon that went after them. It was Vietnam.
Yeah, NVA's the fucking heroes, baby. Sorry, I took a side.
That they were like... They were like, this shit's out there and we're going to go find it. The expedition was unsuccessful, as you all might know from the news.
I've never heard about them killing one.
Right. Though, and no hard evidence for the existence of the rock apes was found. Like there was some soft evidence. We found a song we think one of them wrote.
It's unaccredited and it sounds awful, so it could be really good to like
sounds like an ape hitting a rock. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, another expedition organized by Professor Vo Key of the Vietnam National University. I don't know why I'm saying it like Forrest Gump.
Because you're reading it from History of War.
I think it's because that's why. That's how it comes off of the page. Vietnam National University was similarly unsuccessful. However, strange human-like but not human footprints were found in the jungle in 1970 by Professor Tran Hong Viet of Hanoi's Pedagogic University. He made casts of the footprints but found no further evidence of the rock ape's existence. Interesting. You guys want to try to Google those rock ape footprints?
I can do that for us. Another thing about Vietnam and Laos and Cambodia is that their fucking forests are thick, and there's still indigenous people who are still not like Vietnamese.
Right. They're their own thing.
They're their own thing. They call them cool dudes with attitude.
That is the name of their tribe. They're like, we named our tribe. We've come up with a name. Tell me what you think. Cool dudes with attitude. And they were like, we love that. Put it in the book. Something quite striking about the sightings of the rock apes reported by American troops is the fact that these creatures showed little to no fear of humans. They displayed this trait to such an extent that startled troops out on patrol in the jungle allegedly often happened upon rock apes at distances of a few yards, often getting quite a fright as though they had just come across an enemy patrol rather than a troop of monkeys or a group of apes. The apparent lack of fear of humans could be explained by the fact that rock apes, if they did exist, inhabited ranges that were usually so far away from humans that they saw them as no threat. Or if reports of their large size were accurate, that they saw human beings as too small or weak to present a significant threat to them. On at least one occasion, in fact, a large troop of rock apes was said to have attacked a group of Marines en masse. An explanation put forth by skeptics to explain away the rock ape phenomenon is that these creatures were mere hallucinations. That is the laziest fucking explanation of all time. Yeah. You made it up. You made it up, you big dumb liar. Is that these creatures were mere hallucinations conjured up in the troubled imaginations of young men who were in a hostile, inhospitable environment and under extreme stress, while with their lives under constant threat, the perfect sort of environment and conditions for the young brain to conjure up illusions.
So I wasn't able to find the foot, really. I'll share what I was able to find.
Okay. Yeah, I also could not find any images of it, but I did find a Facebook page, Rock Apes of Vietnam, and there's an associated telephone number.
Whoa,
if we want to call it.
And I was able to find the foot. This is supposedly is the foot, as best I can find, if you can see it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And when you click that link, you get this research on wild men in Vietnam paper from the Idaho State University.
Interesting.
So have fun and read that.
Small wild man. Oh, look, they've got all kinds of pictures. Oh, there's the footprint. Wow. Interesting.
So I linked that to our Discord. Check that out. It's on the main page.
Weird. Yeah, it looks like the footprint is like somebody was standing there and then they slid their foot out, so the mud kind of moved. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Anyway, I digress. Also, the prevalence of marijuana use may have served to further the prime troops' minds for illusions, even though it is not a hallucinogenic drug. While a true psychedelic drug like LSD would certainly have produced the kind of visual hallucinations that could account for rock ape sightings, it was not widely used.
You don't see that kind of crazy shit.
No, some people.
Nor do you experience getting hit by a rock.
That's true.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It also says it was not widely used by troops in the war. So what ultimately is the truth about mysterious rock apes of Vietnam? Were they misidentified orangutans or gibbons? Were they simply hallucinations conjured up by extremely stressed and troubled young minds? Were they an entirely new species as yet undiscovered by science? Until some hard evidence is found, we can't really give any of these questions a definitive answer.
Well, I think extremely stressed, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so.
Might play into it.
Also, if you were to just be like, I don't want a war anymore, maybe you could be like, I'm not going in there. There's rock apes.
Yeah.
Here's another. This is from fandom.com, Cryptids Fandom. They do great work over there. This is on the appearance of rock apes. It says, once again, 3 to 7 feet tall, stout, and very muscular. Protruding stomachs, as we discussed. Hair range from red, orange, brown, and black in color, covering everywhere except for their knees.
Abs you could grate cheese on.
Except for their knees, the soles of their feet, hands, and face. So their knees were weirdly bald, which I love for some reason.
Yeah, they're like me, bald knees.
The feet of the rock apes were said to look like deformed human feet, similar to the famous photograph of the 1960 Yeti footprints in the Himalayan mountains in Nepal. Rock apes are said to live very deep in the jungle, resulting in fearlessness of humans. They do not shy away from human contact. Prior to the American troops' presence, it was said rock apes would sometimes walk up to and sit beside villagers. The forest people, as they call them.
You got to smoke.
Even has it.
So sorry, is that a clove? No, thank you.
Pulls out a pack of parliaments and starts packing it. What are you guys talking about? That's incredible. Where was I? The forest people, as they called them, even had the ability to start fires for their own purposes. These sound like Neanderthals or something.
Yeah.
Denisovian?
Yeah,
what are they called? Yeah.
Post-American presence, however, they were known to throw rocks and even return grenades when thrown at them. That's the fucking ballsiest shit in the world. The creatures would also yell and shake their fists in anger at troops in a reportedly human-like manner. Tales exist of vicious attacks and other violent acts, some exchanges resulting in gruesome human death from being torn limb from limb. And
this does just sound like somebody got onto their property. Yikes. You know, like, and they did not want that happening.
And the Rock Apes, the Rock Apes live by the make my day law. And you know what? You decided to make their day.
Listen to this last line.
We're of the Castle doctrine, as in Frank Castle, the Punisher.
The Punisher. Listen to this last line. Seemingly, if the creature is avoided, it will not instigate malice. But if any action taken against it is anything other than peaceful, the human party will pay in blood.
Okay. But what if I want to see who's stronger in an arm wrestling contest?
I mean,
come at it not with malice. It just has to be a playful expression of strength.
Yeah. If you keep it playful, you might be okay. I'll dig for some more kind of firsthand accounts, because there are interviews with like guys who claim to have seen these things. So I'll try to find some of that. But for the meantime, I'm going to cash out the bowl in the speaking skull and pass this one back to who wants it?
I want it. Pass me.
I'm going to chuck this over to Roger, and that is the end of my segment that I'm called Rockin' Vietnam.
Nice. And I dribble it a little bit. I go between the legs. Nice. I spin it up on my finger real quick. And then I almost dropped my bottle. And then I put it down.
And then you bang a 3.
I'm going to tell us the story of Stuckey's Bridge. This comes from my series I'm doing, where I'm exploring people's hometowns and legends.
Oh, hell yeah. We know someone who who grew up under a bridge.
We did. They're cool. Let me tell you about how cool they are. They grew up under a fucking bridge. This is from
between us, we probably know at least 5 people who grew up under a bridge.
This is from room 2008.
They grew up under power lines.
They grew up in Meridian, Mississippi. If that's what MS is that Mississippi?
Yep.
Nice. I know my state abbreviations. I can mail stuff. So let's go into it. I'm pulling this from
a little bit like a threat with the long pause after it. I have access to the mail.
This apparently is from Facebook. This is like the best designed Facebook page. No, this is wrong. Let me refresh the page. This is from southerngothicmedia.com.
That makes more sense.
Yes, it's a very nice website. Let me share it so others can read the fun. Put it in the listen along tab. And I have the introduction titled Legend Tripping. Folklorists call it legend tripping, the act of venturing out to supposed haunted locations at night.
Mm-hmm.
Some do it in search of proof of supernatural tales. Others, mostly teens, do it to touch boobs. That's not what they wrote, but I know what's going on.
No, but that's a fact.
So after some great flavor from them that I'm going to skip, we're going down to the southwest of Meridian, Mississippi, where many believe a man was executed for the murder of over a dozen travelers who believed he was offering them a safe place to lay their head at night.
Well, wrong.
Yep.
So this bridge, the Chunky River Bridge on a lonely gravel road in Mississippi, 12 miles southwest of Meridian, is a dilapidated old truss bridge, no longer open to cars or traffic. It spans 112 feet, giving travelers access across the Chunky River, a short tributary of the Chickasaw River.
How have I never heard of the Chunky River? That's the funniest name for a river ever.
This
bridge, thick and chunky river.
This bridge was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1988 and has been built to replace the one erected by early settlers of the region in 1850, which gave carriages and horseback travelers a southwestern route in and out of Meridian. But legend has it that during the reconstruction...
Mostly out.
During the reconstruction of this new bridge, workers began discovering bodies on the banks of the river.
Oops.
That's right. This is also a true crime spooky one.
Oopie.
The bodies of travelers believed to have been murdered by a local innkeeper named Stuckey. And the bridge...
So they named the bridge after him?
They named the bridge after Stuckey.
This is our murderer's bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you can get a bridge named after you one of two ways. You can donate a lot of money to the community, in which you gain enough local favor to they want to name a very useful bridge after you.
Or
you can kill so many people that they name a bridge after wherever the bridge you put the bodies.
We've got no one more famous to name it after.
Yeah. Look, we don't like it as much as you guys, but the fact remains the guy's numbers were incredible.
Until 1830, this part of the Mississippi was inhabited by the Choctaw, the first of what were considered the 5 civilized tribes to be removed from the southern portion of the United States.
God, everything about that feels like slurs.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't great. On December 27th, 1830, the federal government coerced the Choctaw leaders into signing the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit, ceding 11 million acres of tribal land to the United States in exchange for 15 million acres in what is now Oklahoma. It was the first treaty carried into effect by the infamous Indian Removal Act. And by 1831...
This all went fine, right?
This all went fine. Many people weren't brutalized. Many people weren't angry and definitely cursed the land that was stolen from them. This is all fine. By 1831, Virginian Richard McLemore became the first settler to lay roots on the newly acquired American territory. He was all like, I'll take this land that's surely not filled with negative energy. After receiving a 2,000-acre land grant, McLemore built a plantation and began partitioning off some of his acreage to attract newcomers. Construction of the Mobile and Ohio railroads began in 1853 on land that McElmore, apparently that's a typo and makes a lot more sense, McElmore had sold. McLemore or McElmore? You decide, listeners.
Listener.
The community that grew around the new railroad station, built by one John T. Ball, would eventually become incorporated as Meridian in 1860. But the decade of growth that came from the railway was quickly turned around by the destruction caused by the Civil War. So just decades of war and
turmoil.
People, just turmoil all around. And then you have the notorious bank and train robber gang, the Dalton gang, coming into the story.
The Daltons are here.
And that's where a man named Stuckey was hanging out. So Stuckey was a member of the Dalton gang.
Oh.
And the Dalton gang, as I said, were some of the most notorious and bank and train robbers in America at the time, led by three brothers, Grant, Emmett, and Bob. The Daltons were born in Missouri and began moving west with opportunity. Initially, they were a family of lawmen, but when the oldest brother, Frank, was killed while serving as Deputy U.S. Marshal, hunting down a horse thief in Oklahoma, their goodwill began to change, and due to various reasons, mostly financial, the brothers ended up on the other side of the law. In the Old West, this wasn't necessarily a stretch. Tales of lawmen turned outlaw were rampant. Everyone was doing it. It was the trend.
I mean, all you had to do was cross one state line, and there you go.
Show a little ankle.
But the Dalton gang were a particularly infamous and violent bunch, only preceded in fame by the likes of Jesse James and Bonnie and Clyde.
Well, they weren't preceded by Bonnie and Clyde.
Bob Dalton, however, did not like this. He aspired to be the most infamous of them all, boasting he could beat anything Jesse James ever did, robbed two banks at once in broad daylight. Unfortunately, these haughty aspirations and inflated ego would quickly lead to the gang's demise.
Street from one another, and he's holding two guns.
He's all like, "Give me the money. I'm a good shot. I'll hit you from this far." Now, on October 5th of 1892, in Coffeyville, Kansas, the Dalton brothers and their cohorts attempted to do exactly as Bob said, target two banks at once.
Oh boy.
Their plan was quickly discovered, and violence escalated rapidly in the streets of the small town, leaving numerous dead, including the town marshal, Charles Connolly, Grat and Bob Dalton, as well as their fellow gang members, Dick Broadwell and Bill Powers, were also killed in the ensuing shootout. Emmett Dalton survived despite receiving 23 gunshots. And he was captured.
Where? In the hat? How can you survive that? That was too many bullets to be in a fella.
He's the 50 Cent of his day.
He was captured and sentenced to life in prison. Legend says several other members of the gang got away.
I'm okay. I need a drink of water. And then sprinkle out of the holes. Sorry. It's not funny to get shot 23 times, but it is if you live.
So now this is where it gets hazy.
Okay.
Rightfully so. The legend does not. The Dalton gang hit a lot of spots.
Understood.
And their rampage was so much that it was hard to keep track of them.
Got it.
But there is no historical documentation saying that the Dalton gang was around this area. However, Stuckey, left by his fellow outlaws, legend has it, came to this area and opened a small inn near the banks of the Chunky River at an old dirt stage road that had been cut from the humid pine forest of the Mississippi wilderness.
Sure, through the rich and creamy forest down to the Chunky River. You can take a gravy boat.
So after the death of the Dalton gang, the horrible shootout, Stuckey is one of the few to survive, is abandoned by the rest of the gang as they all just split, comes to Mississippi, the side of the Chunky River in his gravy boat, and sets up a small inn. The dirt road was the only southwestern route in and out of Meridian, and as the town began to boom after the war, more and more travelers found their way along the route. Stuckey would trade goods with these folks, offering them a hot meal and a warm bed. It is said that once the sun would go down, he would walk out to the middle of the bridge over the river, which had originally been built in 1850, and call out to travelers floating down the river, many of them who were bringing produce, cotton, and other goods to the markets of Meridian. But these folks who were lured in by the light of an old man Stuckey's lantern, cutting through the dark of the night, had no idea that the man who greeted them was much more nefarious than just the mere man trying to earn $1.
Run! He's a Dumbledore!
Stories go that once the travelers were safe asleep in Stuckey's inn, they weren't safe.
Oh boy.
And he would sneak into their bedrooms and viciously attack them in their sleep.
Stuckey.
Knocking them over the head and then dragging their bodies to the river to be buried along its banks.
Stuckey.
He would, of course, steal the possessions for himself. But legends claim it didn't take long for reports of these missing persons to begin to surface in town. And without any hesitation, suspicion was turned to Old Man Stuckey. Prepared for the worst.
Oh yeah, that guy from that killer gang?
Prepared for the worst, the local sheriff
screams at people on a bridge every night.
Certainly not him.
The local sheriff.
Stable and normal.
The local sheriff organized a posse of local men to head out into Mississippi wilderness and confront the old man. He was quickly arrested, given a kangaroo court, and forcibly taken out to the bridge where he once stood with his lantern luring his victims. He was there hung for his crimes. The men vengefully left Stuckey's body dangling over the river's waters for 5 days, exposed to the rank humidity and vicious heat of Mississippi.
Oh.
To be fair, also, he wasn't luring them in. There was nowhere else to go.
Yeah. I mean, he was still luring them in. They didn't have to stop, but it made it easy for him.
They said that he did business with these people who were traders on the river.
He would only kill the ones that he really liked.
I like you. You're dead.
So that's the history that we know. Let's now go into the haunted bridge story. So the old bridge where Stuckey was believed to be executed no longer remains, as we discussed. It is now a truss bridge being replaced in 1901. But his soul is still thought to roam, bitter and angry at having been subjected to the same fate of his victims. Over the years, many who have been brave enough to wander across Stuckey's bridge at night have claimed to hear ghostly splashes in the water below. Echoes of the treacherous murderer's body dropping into the river after being cut from its noose.
Okay. I mean, I guess so. Like that does a very specific sound, like a splorsh, splorsh. Something heavy hitting the water. Okay. In my mind, I was being like, oh yeah, you heard splashing from a lake and you were like, it's a ghost.
But like a heavy splash when no one is around is weird.
Hard agree.
Some even claim to see a eerie blue glow emanating from the spot where the legend suggests his executed corpse disappeared for eternity.
Ooh.
Others have even reported ghastly apparitions
Nice.
of the man's executed body still hanging from the trusses of the bridge. But the most widely reported of these eerie haunting claims that the ghost of Old Man Stuckey still walks across the chunky river every night, waving his lantern in search of more victims, just as he did in his treacherous life over a century ago.
This dude is fucking trash.
And that, my friends, Pingo's Dark Council, is Meridian, Mississippi's history and legend of Stuckey's Bridge, the Chunky River Bridge, as it's better known.
Stuckey, you old creep.
Check it out. Go there. Try to wake the ghost. See if you can wake the ghost. That would be fun.
Don't do that. Don't tell people to wake the ghost. They'll get thrown over the bridge.
Okay, I can't do that, but that's pretty cool anyway. I can see this talking skull to you, Nate.
Okay.
Wake the ghost, Nate. Should that be our catchphrase?
I'm shaking the skull. I'm waking the ghost.
Shake it and see what answer comes up in the eyes.
Check again later. So I have a thing. It's not paranormal per se, but it's paranormal adjacent, and I think you're going to enjoy it. This is about Gadget Hack Wrench, who you may know from the Disney cartoon Chip and Dale.
Oh yeah.
Yep. That's the person behind you. That's why it's so familiar.
Sorry, her last name was Hack Wrench?
Hack Wrench, it turns out. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Oh yeah.
So this is about a cult.
Uh-oh.
It all started with this, I should say this article is coming from medium.com,
Okay.
written in 2018. And I think maybe she's come back since then.
Oh.
It all started with a usual Russian fandom of Gadget. I didn't know there was a usual Russian fandom of Gadget, but
that
apparently there was. Right. Whose members were in awe of the object of their dreams, but suffered too much from the unrequited love and inability to communicate with their idol. They despaired, left the ranks of like-minded mouse lovers, and rode off into the sunset. Soon the administrator of the fandom realized how to turn the negative side of fan devotion into a positive one. Thus, they declared Gadget the goddess. This is where the cult starts.
I mean, I definitely have been there.
Yeah, to Russia?
No, not to Russia, but to like,
are you part of the Gadget cult?
Being sexually awoken by a cartoon mouse or cartoon cat or
Jessica Rabbit, whatever, or the lady from Cool World who has sex with that real guy.
Yes.
Sure. Or any page of any heavy metal magazine.
Yes, exactly. So yeah. I get it. But creating a cult is...
Yeah, that's not the answer.
That's not the answer. The answer is becoming a furry.
Getting out more. Meeting other furries.
The egregore concept of energy became the basis of Gadget Hack Wrench cult or Gadgetology.
I can't believe this is happening.
Nate, we should have just gave you the whole episode. This is insane.
For real. This is fully insane.
Its adepts are convinced that the fictional character can be revived with the help of unconditional faith.
Yes.
Now which also means they believe she's died, which I assume happened when the series ended.
All right, I got to make this poll for this week.
In addition, there's an opinion that Gadget already was born in a parallel dimension, of course, due to the faithful fans and their love. A cult was originated in Nizhny Novgorod, but quickly found a response in the hearts of other Gadget lovers throughout Russia. By the by, each user of the fandom, this is also coming from the fandom, can become part of it by selecting this ideology in their personal profile settings. So if you're a part of the fandom at medium.com, you can become a gadgetologist.
It's just that easy. If you're not paying attention, you can become a gadgetologist like that.
The adepts are perfectly organized. They communicate online, meet offline, and always celebrate the Gadget Lightbringer's birthday. March with torches, icons, and panels, perform rites, sing songs, write poetry, and we won't be surprised to find out that these people dance for the sake of their goddess.
Oh, yeah. And so much masturbating.
I mean, just the right amount. It's a lot of just like orgy fucking too, I bet.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of these people aren't interested in fucking anyone who's not Gadget.
Yeah, but they make costumes and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Zip.
Gadget's admirers say that the Lightbringer is the embodiment of all virtues on Earth, and only her image helps them in difficult times.
Nice.
In addition, platonic adoration is almost inexhaustible. What else would need a truly devoted fan? Gadgetology further is divided into three main currents. Traditional Gadgetology, consisting of prayers, righteous deeds for the good of the goddess. Progressive Gadgetology, aimed at moral growth as well as perfection of deeds and thoughts, not only within the church but also in real life. This branch took as a basis as the principles of Gadget's friends from the animated series. Help your neighbors, fight against evil, and grow above yourself, because only the purged soul can feel the union with the goddess. And third, apocalyptic Gadgetology, which includes faith in prophecy and revelation.
And denial of the sinner Monterey Jack and his gluttonous ways. Nate, I've heard a lot of crazy shit on this podcast, man. This is among the crazier.
And how can we give them money?
Followers of this current believe in the end of the world and salvation at the behest of the Lightbringer.
Like Gadget's gonna come down from the sky, just zapping people.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Beautiful.
I'm actually going to jump really quickly to a different article. Here are some quotes from.
How many articles are there?
Yeah,
there's a few of them.
This is a cult that worships the Tasmanian devil.
Here are some quotes from people who are part of Gadgetology. She is the divine being, the most untouched and perfect sibling of the great God on Earth. Why I love her? It's a stupid question. How could I not love the goddess? Third,
why do I love her? Because I'm a freaky little pervert.
Yeah, and these are all translated from Russian, so it might be slightly off, but the third one is she is strict, cute, optimistic, and her level of technical knowledge is unachievable for a mortal being.
This is true.
They love her because she's an engineer.
Look, I gotta say, a lot of these are starting to make a lot of sense.
That's so Soviet.
Well, and I mean, I think it's post-Soviet. Here's a longer one. Her beauty, intelligence, kindness, mixed with fix-it girl image is so tempting. Her pics from the cartoon are wonderful, but there is so much fan art where she looks just the ideal female. I look on her and think, what would I like to be changed in her? And understand nothing. She's perfect. In our dirty world, she's the only angel. I downloaded lots of her pictures within some days and keep looking and looking on her. Just can't take my eyes off. I absolutely understand the men who started the cult because Gadget gives all us hope that there's the endless world of beauty in our world.
Well, at least he knows it's a cult.
The ideal girl, which will never meet in reality. I love you, Gadget.
That is the most frightening sentence I've ever heard read.
Well,
that guy's out there. That guy's out there on the street. That guy's probably at war in Ukraine right now, praying to Gadget.
He's currently huffing duster and operating a tank.
Yeah.
And he's winning a war.
Back to the main article. The main teachings of the cult. Of the second coming of Gadget. It was about the earnest expectation of a repeat of the Rescue Rangers on TV, but soon died out, as there were many reruns on TV, and the internet archives eased the fanatic torment. Of good, evil, and their opposition. On the light side is Gadget herself. On the dark side is Fat Cat. For righteous followers, the death will open the portal to Gadgetize, which is heaven, while the sinners will go to Fat Cat Hell.
Good Lord.
I love it.
It's pretty good, isn't
it? On the world of Gadget. The world of the goddess is a mystery, but admirers believe that it resembles ours. The only difference is that there is the higher beings dwell. The power of Gadget allows the mouse to appear in front of her adepts in any form at any time, and every cult follower must remember this. Do not flatter and be seduced by the speeches of the insidious Fat Cat, corrupting the souls of mere mortals. Of our world's creation, the fans believe that it was Gadget who created our world by the power of her love. It exists only because the Lightbringer and makes no sense without her.
Gadget didn't exist until 1993.
Yeah, but look at her. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's perfect in every way.
Of fanatic humility. The essence of this teaching is that the cartoon character and the goddess are different personalities, right? So you've got a god and a Christ character.
Mm-hmm.
The first is a product of consumption, entertainment, and no more, while the second is above these criteria. Adherents should understand that Gadget does not belong to anyone, but, on the contrary, owns her flock and loves everyone alike.
Do you understand how annoyed she is at the Rescue Rangers, but she helps them all the time?
Just like she helps her followers.
Yeah. Of the embodiments of Gadget, the cartoon image is not only the face of the Lightbringer. All followers know that the goddess can appear even under the guise of a casual passerby. Anybody could be Gadget.
Guys,
you're encountering Gadget constantly every time somebody's doing something nice for you.
I am not Gadget.
I will never do anything nice for you.
Can you guys both make the same promise real quick?
I can't, man. I might do something nice for you, and then as Nate said, I'm Gadget.
You could be Gadget. Ongoing of Gadget's death. This teaching concludes the whole meaning of Gadgetology. If the fans forget their goddess, she will die.
Ooh.
So that you're forced to remember Gadget in everything you do.
That's what happened to Liberace.
Waking and sleeping. Exactly. Of the fan art.
Listen. What I do on DeviantArt is art, okay? And I won't have this talk about how it is anything more.
What do you Google? Sexy Gadget? Gadget boobs?
I'd Google gadget boobs.
Nice.
Boobs hack wrench. I mean, that's basically what it says. It's creating beautiful works of art in the name of Gadget. It's a way to get in touch with the goddess of grace. Any fan product can be nourished with grace and become almost an icon, but you cannot deliberately embody Gadget in one of your works.
Oh, it's like thou shalt not make any graven images of Gadget.
Well, you can, but she decides if she's going to become part of it.
Listen,
I see.
There's a lot of people trying to deface the name of Gadget, and I like what they're doing.
Oh, here's one. I got a live one here.
Yep, there's a few live ones.
Yeah. These are getting sexier.
Yeah, everyone maybe don't gaggle sexy Gadget unless you
Don't
really want to
sexy Gadget.
It actually took me a really long time to find this one image behind me.
Oh yeah.
Because every single one of them before it was
exceedingly fucky.
Yeah.
Listen, this is she's in some of these. That's what I'm gonna say.
Let's add the word sexy to my search.
Sexy copy plot, please.
Oh, my eyelids!
The cult adepts have an official website where religious texts and songs dedicated to the mouse goddess are stored in private, which is true. I tried to get in there, and you can't. It's all just for them.
What if it's in Russian and you need a Russian keyboard? And then it's just
I should have switched Dvorak. All these anthems glorified the Lightbringer as a gentle, feminine ideal of the inventor. Moreover, one of the site moderators, a theoretician of gadgetology, decided to release a series of lectures in which he planned to inform people in detail why Gadget is a real goddess and not a banal animated character. Realizing that not everyone is ready to perceive information entirely, he created 3 levels of admission for lectures: white, red, and black.
Okay.
The white included basic information. The red opened to those who had time to attend at least 3 lectures of the white level, and the black combined theory with practice and was developed only for the very devoted followers of the cult. There were even plans for erecting the Temple of Gadget, which was supposed to look like a hexagonal pole in the form of a nut up to 20 meters in height.
Yes.
I love it. She would love it. This is beautiful.
Alas, this idea required a lot of money, so the cult followers had to abandon it.
How much do they need? Can the Werewolf Radar fortune help just a little?
Well, 20 meters think is, it can. Yeah.
I won't turn my key.
By the way, one of the adepts created a heretical branch of the doctrine, sweeping this cult as an offshoot.
That's heretical, like not accepted canon.
Yeah.
Well, and check this thing is going to blow your mind. Its main postulate is that the arrival of Gadget in our world is nothing more than the awakening of Cthulhu, whose alchemical wife is the Lightbringer.
Oh no!
But if she appears, she will awaken the sleeper in relay and launch the end of the world.
You don't want that.
Come on. I didn't know they were a shared universe.
Yeah, of course they are.
They are now.
If you didn't know that Rescue Rangers took place in the Lovecraftian universe, you weren't watching Rescue Rangers.
No, my parents didn't let me watch some episodes, and I think I now know why.
Anyway, that's the segment. I suppose it's Chip and Dale Relay Rearrangers.
Relay Rearrangers?
Whatever.
Holy moly, folks. What an episode. What a segment. That was great. Thank you so much for your continued support of Werewolf Radar. We love you guys. If you are part of Gadgetology, please let us know. We're sorry for ripping on you, but look, this you knew what you were getting into. The moment you undressed that mouse, lady. Please go check us out on Twitter and Instagram and freaking werewolfradar.com. You can go to dangle twitch.tv/werewolf radar. twitch.tv/werewolf_radar, where we do Twitch games on Mondays. Usually we're playing D&D in our wonderful ongoing campaign called Night Bastard. We have a new
and we have
player.
A new member. Yeah.
We got a drummer. Come show up on Monday to find out.
I don't think we needed, because I do percussion with the gong.
Right. You do. Look, you do. The gong is good. It's not enough. It's not enough. I'm sorry.
We'll roll for that.
Come check us out. Watch us have this argument, but in earnest. Monday is 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Please come check it out. Shout out to Chuck from Snappy Little Numbers for our intro and outro song. And if you really, really, really like what we did for some reason, you can go give us 5 stars on any of the platforms that allow you to give us 5 stars. And if you really like what we did, but that wasn't enough, you can become a Patreon member and you get all kinds of perks. You get mug, shirt, picture. You get freaking
exclusive episodes.
You get an extra episode every week. The Grave Nugget. You get fiction. You get so much stuff. So if you're into that, come join us on Patreon. It'll be a lot of fun. And I think that does it for another episode of Werewolf Radar. Until next time, as always,
punch the skies, Spaceman Joe.